I say, whoa, now that is your man's and them foul shot, aka the Toothless Wonder, reporting on the bamboos again. Now I've been, the weather's starting to break here, right? But I've noticed something this week because I had to go in later, Thursday night, so I was gonna stop, you know what I mean, and make a video, whatever, whatever. But every time I set to do this jump, right, and upload outside, it seemed like the wind pick up. So I don't know if y'all hear the wind in the back. It don't sound too bad to me, but it seemed like with these new devices and whatnot, you know what I mean, whatever, you know what I'm saying. I just want to come with some little late night content. You know what I mean? Keep the brothers and the sisters in the fight. You know what I'm saying? Because I know we get tired sometimes. And speaking for myself, and wonder, man, when is this gonna happen? When that gonna happen? Haven't I endured enough? What more must I go through? And I ain't really going through nothing now, other than accepting life on light term. But it ain't nothing I can't handle. Again, based on previous seasons of life, I'm well versed to handle just regular stuff that pertain to society that I really don't want to fool with. Being responsible, consistent, diligent, dedicated. You know what I mean? All the fundamental stuff. You have to build the fundamental stuff. Me being a former recovering drug addict, I understand a lot of stuff in concept, but just now over the last 4 years, I built up a campaign of doing things in application, right? Um, what else was I gonna say? But it's real in the battlefield, right? And the new level of spiritual nuances I've gained through almost spiritual instinct or spiritual muscle memory, right? Now along this journey, I've always been like this, but now I don't have the personal proclivities or behaviors that would negate certain things that I say, right? So I've been in this space of calling out the bamboozlers, right? Not even necessarily directly calling them out. And here's my thing: ain't nobody in recent history bamboozled me, but I have a true disdain for those who bamboozle the less knowledgeable or the fleecers of the flock, such as Marvin Sapp. And I keep constantly talking about this, whereas though in these various social groupings, primarily I'm gonna discuss Negroes, right? I'm seeing a complete regression or a disillusionment of the illusion that they attempt to portray to people. So it must be the strong delusion why people still support and defend the bamboozler. Such as, which is totally wacky wild Kool-Aid style to me. I caught news, they said Diddy might possibly be getting out of jail, right? Now, of course, he's guilty, and here in this line, he's guilty until proven innocent. But the man is guilty, yo. I don't care what nobody say. I don't even need no fact. Here's a crazy attribute that I done gained along my journey, right? I can have limited information, and it's not coming from an intellectual place. Again, it's coming from, I don't know what I would like to label. I, I guess it's just spiritual discernment. Or I had like older people in my family who had, less than a high school education, but they were very wise. You know what I'm saying? Case in point, my mother told me a story about my uncle when he used to drink, and they heard, small town USA, right? So they heard, oh, he was in town, kicking up dust, this, that, and the third. And they was wondering when he was coming home, is he all right? So they sitting around the table discussing my uncle, right? And my grandmother just sitting there, just as calm. And then she said, nah, he all right, he'll be home in a minute. But they had got all these phone calls about this, that, and the third. 5 minutes later, he pulled in the driveway. How did she know that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I be knowing stuff, not knowing how I know it. My daughter got this skill, but I'm fully confident. And, because I'm coming out of intellectual, I'm like, nah, maybe not. And I be dead accurate, dead right. That man did that stuff, man. And here's what I'm saying from, because what I attempt to do is couple practical news that we may see or you may experience in your personal life, and then tie it into scripture and spirituality, right? And this is coming from a fool who has now become wise. Again, not puffed up with knowledge, but these are skills and attributes I've gained along the journey. No different than say you playing a video game and you cross one board, you get a couple more coins or extra life or a new little superpower. It's the same thing here in this seemingly Ready Player One type simulation I find myself in. But I'm noticing when I've done this, can't nobody in my personal lifetime, not might have lied about or perpetrated fraud about. They've come to me with, just, I guess questions or just my insight on various topics, right? And I won't have limited information and be pinpoint accurate in my synopsis of said situation, place, or event, right? And now what I'm noticing, people get mad at me. which is crazy to me, and it has to be spiritual. Because if I knew someone, especially early in my journey, and I seen they were accurate, I seen they were humble, I seen them put in work, I see them you know what I'm saying? And I ask them a question or whatever, and later on it come to be right, that leaves Chris, yo, let me see how I play the situation. Let me go to him for insight. I'm noticing people will disdain you. People like staying in their suffering. I'm not one of them. I just didn't understand the work it would take to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? I just want it all solved. You know what I'm saying? In my idealistic mindset, right? Um, but I'm noticing like people get mad with me, but I ain't did nothing to them. I ain't lied to them. I didn't bamboozle them. I didn't manipulate them. I could, but I don't want to. I don't feel like no hellified Negro taking these skills that come from the Most High and using it for my selfish purpose. Then I be doing the very same thing I claim to despise. I really don't want to be a hypocrite. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm wrong, I just own up to it. Because I don't have no ego or image to maintain. And I really don't, I guess to a degree we all care what people think. Like I try to, go to work, I present myself in a professional fashion, decorum, so on and so forth. But in the duality of it, and I do that for me because that's how I want to present myself to the world. Make it look like I'm about my business or I'm about what I say I'm about, right? But outside of that, I don't care. Because, people's opinions or their, now depending on who you are, I will take suggestions. I learned that in the recovery process. But just telling me what you think I ought to do and you wasn't with me while I was shooting the jet. And here's another thing, I don't listen to nobody. That's a good way not to get bamboozled. And if I don't know what to do, I just go to Most High with it. Because it seemed like he trained me along my journey of being around bamboozled where I had to go to him with it. So unless he reveal it to me, or what seems to happen is I'll be having a leaning or inkling to a certain degree some way in one direction or another, and then it'll get confirmed from someone else or I'll hear something on, I'll be like, oh, there it is. But somebody just come to me at the most evolved state I've ever been. I'm evolving upward while everything in society and the people thereof are going on a downward trajectory. And then you come to me and tell me what you think I ought to do. And if I discern, um, because I'm real careful about that, and I started understanding leverage right now. I understood like on the King Connect song, I ain't got no king, I ain't got no physical king, and I don't want one now. So you know what I'm saying. Now you can be my partner, or we can link up and such. But you gotta be careful with this new epiphany of witchcraft and so on and so forth, where people will attempt to subtly use their suggestions to be able to rudder your ship and navigate it or get you to question. You know what I mean? Because I will review stuff and take stuff into account. But ultimately, I'm the CEO of my own life, and having the Most High is the board of directors. That's who I answer to. And if I'm wrong, I answer to them. And if they tell me to apologize, I ain't got no problem doing that. But all I think you gonna tell me what to do, no, man. I didn't get to this point. Listen to, let me pause. I listened to what um was pertinent to me, right? So I know how to take the meat and spit out the bone. But just listening to you about whatever, no, man. And I will put now, granted, you got to discern that for you. Because if you got, wise counsel or even somebody on YouTube whose content has been instrumental in your life, which many brothers have been, yeah. But just like, how they say in the world where, when you first get the gospel up in you, you give you the milk, right? But you don't stay on milk forever. Eventually, you start eating meals and you get stronger and so on and so forth. You should come off the proverbial spiritual titty to a degree. You know what I'm saying? Or come out the proverbial spiritual nest so you can fly on your own. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe none of that. I got to this point, of course, by the grace and mercy, favor of the Most High. But I got to this point finding my own truths, finding my own lane, and staying in it. And when people perceive you stand on quote unquote business, or you're not easily moved, or if at all, or you dug in with where you at, when like the word talk about people going to and fro, blown with every wind of doctrine, as we say on social media, and it just becomes a thing and now you believe it, even though when you review the data it don't benefit you none, and typically all this stuff is set to erode your soul. You know what I'm saying? No, man, that's crazy to me. And this is coming from a man who has been previously labeled crazy, but a real crazy person think everybody else crazy. You know what I'm saying? People just play crazy, but then when it's time to get some consequence for being crazy, you don't want no part of that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in this space, me myself. Like I said, I'm down here by the water marinate. You know, did my little squat routine on the bench here that I'm sitting on, and I was just in this space of just It's a Friday night, you know what I mean? I ain't looking for nothing. I'm completely content sitting here by the water. Just being, they say like moving water like char or electrifies you to some degree. And when I came out, I ain't started working out at first, but I just kind of walked back and forth, just being thankful. It's a Friday night, and I ain't looking for no bone quisha. Oh, speaking of that, right? Uh, I had to do outreach today, right? So a partner of mine was with another partner of mine, and he's in town, right? And this my main man. He's been very instrumental, like in my younger years, let's say like late 20s. Like he's kind of like, well, I kind of got this skill from him where, what I mean, I'm flared up, I'm ready to do something dumb, right? So I go to him. Now I don't really necessarily just at first just go spill the beans on him, but we sit down, drink a few beers, and I just get to rap about whatever it is, right? Then he'll, give me his take, whatever, whatever, and then he'll get me laughing, and then I'll be in his energy so much so I'll be like, man, I'm out of that spirit. I'm going on home. Cause I'm holler at you. You know what I'm saying? So all as I grew and evolved, right? You know, anybody really, but especially someone, who's been instrumental or stopped me from doing stupid stuff, I'm always revere him to some degree, right? So when I got to this level of it, what I'm saying, my mind was in a different situation. So of course, I'm down by law. I'm gonna see about you. I'm gonna, do the same thing you did for me, right? But then I felt kind of when I started discerning again, like I previously talked about, these people don't want the problem solved. Because if they solve the problem, they ain't got nothing to talk about. Very seldom in my personal life, even with people that I used to drink, get high with, and all that, nobody's now. They might talk about it, but they'll never do it because they're stuck in a loop. And I noticed that in this matrix, people are stuck in a loop. I heard one time in a meeting when I was in Baltimore, brother shared he had got off dope. I guess say he was like, "Yo," he said, "I haven't left a 4 block radius in 10 years." You know what I'm saying? He's like, now I want to do all this other stuff. That's what happened to me. Like I want the world, you know what I'm saying? Or to inherit it, you know what I mean, from a scriptural sense, right? But back to my partner, right? I was like, oh man, my man in town. So next I'm thinking, it's starting to get nice now, you know what I mean? Guess the car get fixed, so I can ride my bike around with her. So I'll just ride down, holler at her. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, no, because I'm gonna end up disappointed like I was the last 2, 3 times. Because he's gonna be talking about street stuff, don't care nothing about. It don't be nothing uplifting. Like, oh, like even if he was fresh, like, yo, now I'm gonna get this crib, or you know what I'm saying, I gotta pick up an extra shift, man. I'm tired, bro. Like, no, to me in my personal life, Babylon and the spiritual imposition thereof has taken the fight out of everybody. But they'll fight with their mouth, even in respect to my efforts um with the old job and whatnot, right? I'm wise enough through my journey to see the play moving and just get on up out of Dodge. So I'm the only one who's still intact. All these other healthcare professionals have completely regressed. Like I talked about before, where their facial features starting to change, right? That's how I talk about when you're in these social groupings and finance, but it's chipping away at your spirit, or I ain't saying quit right away, but go ahead and find another job or find a hustle, if nothing else, you should be running to the Most High because now you see the illusion dissipate of what you thought it was. And I was in that space. I see this is not what I thought it was, but my mind at that time couldn't fathom anything else or what I was going to have to do to create something else. So I just circled the wagons and mourn over something that's dead instead of going on about my business. You know what I'm saying? But back to my mind or whatever, I didn't feel like it's not going to be conducive to my spirit. Yeah. And I work for outreach. And I work for so like people have seen my evolution. They've seen change behavior. They've seen all that. And not saying they hate, but it's a like they familiar to me. But this version of me doesn't resonate with the current version of them. And I got love for them. I pray for them and all that. But I don't feel the need to go around listening to nothing. And it's just I'm right now. I done kind of settled into the Most High change of being like the word talk about being a nomad, a sojourner, alien upon this earth. And here's what's crazy when I think back over my life, right? The most instrumental people who have had the greatest effect on me or changed my direction or gave me some type of, like I talk about my shawty that passed away from cancer, our connection was so real, it broke me out of having casual sex. I use the analogy, and this was during the time of when like the loud was coming into a thing and all that from like the regular weed. So let's say, you smoke regular weed. Let's say that's the average, harlot, right? And then you get a taste of some good, sour diesel, reefer, whatever, right? Then that joint puts you where you like, cook, God of mercy, watch out there now. You know what I'm saying? And then let's say it's a drought and you go back and because you smoke weed, right? And you smoke some regular weed, it don't do the same thing as the sour diesel, and it make you mad. Then you do that enough time, you don't even want to smoke no more. So if it ain't gonna put me where I want to be, I don't even want it. And that's where I'm at with the whole proverbial quote unquote dating guy. If it ain't in alignment with where I'm at, not that I would judge anybody new to anybody prior, because that's unfair, you know what I'm saying, whatever, right? But if it don't give me that there, you know what I'm saying, there ain't no sense of fooling with it. I'm so evolved now. If you don't give me that there, I don't want to get butt naked with you. You know what I'm saying? If I'm around a brother and he's not, actively fighting in the struggle, you know what I'm saying, or progressing in any area, mentally, physically, spiritually, family, socially, you know what I'm saying? I ain't just talking about financially. In my personal life, I don't want to be around you because it sounds stupid to me now. And then I feel right. I feel like, again, not in no, ego or nothing like that, but I'm getting so evolved through these various trials and tribulations and what it produces and what I learn from it, that it's hard for me to connect with the average brother. Now, I'm pretty sure I done planted seeds, right? But here's my thing, almost in a sense of urgency. You don't have all this time. If you want to curtail my journey, he started on that when I broke my now probably, well, around about the time I broke my shorty pad. That was 2012. We're talking about almost what 13 years ago. You see what I'm saying? To get to this point, you don't have all the time in the world. Now I ain't with moving in haste or nothing like that, but I don't believe in moving in haste, and I don't believe in dragging my feet either. Like on a daily basis, you need to be, especially if you're a man, you need to be getting better, yeah. And that ain't got no, and finance, I ain't even talking about no finance. You need to be getting better with your goals, with your personal disciplines, with your spiritual disciplines. You know what I'm saying? If you're angry, read books, not even self-help books, but like stoicism books of how you harness and transmute anger or sexual energy, or you know what I'm saying? I'm just a more evolved human being. And now it gives me more faith because way back when I first started out, what was I say? Oh, way back when I first started out, ain't none of it make not nab piece of sense. And I think part of the reason was to break me out of intellectualism, because you can't intellectualize things in the spirit. Now, I'm under full belief everything's spiritual. So because I see everything as spiritual, I'm able to read it from a spiritual lens. So now a fool seems wise because I'm not getting caught up in all the pitfalls that are particularly set up for the Negro man. And my soul, even though I go through dark times spiritually, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be, I'm actually getting stronger as the game go on. You know what I'm talking about? Well, I see everybody getting weaker. You know what I'm saying? Or giving in, coming off principles, letting society change their beliefs and what they stand on or what they accept and won't accept. You know what I mean? And now, because I'm kind of like an anomaly in the matrix, they're mad with me even though I ain't did nothing to them, and I led them the correct way. You know what I'm saying? I'm thoroughly, especially with the Negro, and especially in relation to the Marvin Sapp man. Um, I truly believe Negroes like being bamboozled. Negroes like being oppressed. You know what I'm saying? Like back to my mind, he's in a relationship with a woman who's in the correctional system and sending her money, but he's throwing rocks at the penitentiary, selling drugs to send her money. And when she was on the street, she carried you. But you don't think or deserve or think you can get better, or you don't work on yourself where you get more confidence and exude a better, or where you can attract a better quality of woman, where at the very least you can get better treatment. And I noticed that it's like, even in the quote unquote dating world, right? It's like people love or will be devoted to people who treat them like they nothing. What says that's got to be a mass mental health undiagnosed epidemic. Treat me bad or let me think you plant my intelligence, I'm gone. I've had to do it recently. And don't got no problem doing it. Cause one thing about it, I ain't got no bodyguard. The kid gonna protect him soul, him physical, all that. You know what I'm saying? Word up. Who else gonna do it? Make all the sense in the world to me. I'm not begging, of course, the Most High, but I'm not looking for nobody to save me. I'm not looking, to hop on. Now, if you do it, that's cool. I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Not to make light of it, but I'm not looking for you to pay my bill. I just hop on this joint and start talking because I feel like it. Don't nobody tell me what to do. Now, of course, if I'm trending a certain way, my spiritual alarm system will go off like, oh, okay, because I keep constantly checking myself. Am I getting egotistical? Do I think I know too much? Or when in reality, the man who knows something he know nothing at all. You understand? But then it makes me it what has happened is make me adversarial to the bamboozle. Like I got some partner back in Baltimore, and they affiliated with the bamboozling medical system and all that, and fleecing the flock of the other brothers. You know what I'm saying? So I call them out and put their name in it, but they don't respond to me. You know what I'm saying? Because they know I'm telling the truth. And to be totally honest, I'm getting to this point. Now I'm gonna end this on this note because previous to me hopping on here, excuse me, I saw that the rapper Lil Scooter out of ATL was unalive. Um, it's still early or whatever by the police, right? What's my opinion on that? So say hustling in the black community and gangsterism is the lowest level of wickedness. You know what I'm saying? Like the real gangsters are in politics or they're running these various businesses that are help shaping the satanic world. You know what I'm saying? The only thing hustlers and hustlers and these fake, and I get on these fake gangster Negroes and these institutional religious Negroes, all they do is fleece the flock of their own kind. I've never, outside maybe the Black Panther and a few little pieces here and there, I've never seen none of these so say you're not gangster unless you're getting gangster on. Like I did a video a while back about how Yeshua and the disciples were actually the first gangsters. 12 dudes ran afoul spiritually of the most powerful entity or nation on earth, the Roman Empire. And based on what? Of course, by the Spirit, right? But Yeshua and 12 men created a religion that is still affecting the world today. The way, as it was called back then, was so powerful that other religions have tried to co-opt it based on what one man and 12 of his homies did. And we see what happened, and he had been black man because Judas betrayed him. And we see what happened to Judas. That's another thing that is like even before I actually knew the knowledge I know now, I said, yo, it's a lot of similarities between Negroes in America and the Israelites, the Hebrews of the Old Testament, the Judas, the picking the Barnabas over the one that helps and heals you because he just like you. You know what I'm saying? Walking through the valley of the shadow of death every day, B, but fearing no evil. You know what I'm saying? Um, the family, rising up against you and so on and so forth. I said, but back then they used to teach you, we were on ham, and that's why we curse and subservient to the other nations, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So that information in and of itself helps me understand where we at with it. So, I try to, be effective in my community because, I got a heart for it and all that. But I ain't planning on changing no world because the world ain't meant to be changed. The world is worlding exactly how it's supposed to world as it's written of in the scripture. So I done kind of detached from it all. It don't affect me other than the energy I give to it. Technically, my daughter, mother, whatever, because child involved, but she don't affect me. I think that's why she's going the tactics she's getting because she can't get no more energy from it. I'm not emotionally moved. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what you do, and more oftentimes than not, depending on the situation, I already know what you're gonna do because you're programmed to do that. It's elementary, my dear Watson. If you become a student of the game, a social observationist, and can get to a point like I did where you enjoy your own company, that's how I get all my great revelations. In solitude, by myself, limiting the noise and the distractions of nothingness and buffoonery. Like I really haven't been catching a whole lot of content. My ears don't want to hear nothing. And I listen to it here and there, You know what I'm saying? But now I'm in this space for this season where I just want to hear my own self. Because in listening to myself, it's the most high speaking through my conscience or my intuition. You know what I'm saying? So I might got some thing going on that I want to rectify. It'll happen. Just like everything else got rectified. He ain't bring me, I refuse to believe. He done brought me all that way to lead me now. You know what I'm saying? Or like I said one time, about the middle part of my journey, right? Prior to let's say 2020, around the COVID time, I said, I don't know how I said, oh, you done brought me this far, right? And I wasn't coming from nowhere. You done brought me this far. So it's not like you can just leave me now and I got to figure it out. Because if I try to figure it out, as smart as I like to think I am, I'm going to figure it out wrong. And no matter how I figure it out, it's going to be wrong because he don't want me leaning to my own wisdom and understanding. But in all my ways acknowledge him, and he will lead and direct my path. And I'm saying that to y'all, I'm saying it to myself, saying it to y'all. I'm signing off, getting a little chilly on the kid. One love, baby. Oh, I'll be coming on live between probably noon and 3ish. I'll probably be at the park. Um, so come mess with your boy. Signing off on the Bamboozle Again News Network, where Negroes get bamboozled every day, B. But you down with the Most High. You be alright. Ooh, ah.